One Punch Man is a series mostly known for having one of the most limitless heroes in anime, Saitama, a character whose power can seemingly rise to not only match but completely overwhelm any dangerous situation he encounters. And while there are many strong and interesting characters within the world of One Punch Man, their abilities all pale in comparison to the iconic titular character we've all grown to love. However, many fans believe that the series could be hiding another sleeping giant in plain sight, a character whose scale of power is simultaneously both monstrously high yet mysteriously vague at the same time, to the point where even the manga has to outright state that his true power is still, to this day, unknown. We are talking, of course, about the furry suited question mark that is Watchdog Man. A fairly young and ordinary faced fellow, you'd be forgiven for believing this guy is something of a joke with his plushy outfit and dedication to acting like a dog, especially when paired with his constant expression of unbotheredness and a seemingly overall lack of emotion. Watchdog Man rarely speaks, and when he does, he usually speaks bluntly and says exactly what comes to mind. This deadpan nature is certainly similar to Saitama, and Watchdog Man tends to get bored very quickly like Saitama too, losing interest in situations which aren't testing his prowess. One has to wonder if there's some correlation in the creator having these two characters share such similar traits in both personality and presentation. Not much is known about Watchdog Man's past, however, his extraordinary speed and strength has earned him the position of an S-class hero. Starting out in the C-class, his power made him one of the hand-picked heroes who were promoted to the special S-class group, and since then, he's gone on to effortlessly build a reputation as one of the most decorated and reliable heroes in all of the association, respected for his power by the executives, admired greatly by the general public, and relied upon by both. How exactly has he achieved this though? Well, it has something to do with being the unbeatable guardian of Q City. Known in One Punch Man as the city with not only the most monster attacks on average, but also the highest average disaster level of monster attacks, you'd be forgiven for thinking that living in this city feels like a simulation of living in a small village outside of the walls in Attack on Titan. But do you know what the reality is? Q City, under the supervision of Watchdog Man, is the safest city to live in for civilians despite the disaster level statistics suggesting that living there would be about as much fun as playing Twister in a prison shower. An understated part of this fact is the suggestion that it's almost certain that this means Watchdog Man has eradicated numerous dragon level disasters during his time as the city's guardian, since in theory, it wouldn't be able to obtain the highest average disaster level without its fair share of dragon level threats, insinuating at the very least the concept that Watchdog Man is in the upper echelon of S-class as a minimum basis for his power. In fact, over time, due to Watchdog Man's diligent protection, he single-handedly turned the most dangerous city in the world into arguably the safest. It's even been said that some people would prefer to take refuge in Q City rather than seek shelter in specialized facilities purely because of the Watchdog's presence. Not only does he dispatch powerful monsters in record time, but he's able to ascertain and eliminate many threats before nearby local officers can arrive, and sometimes before the Hero Association can even sound the alarm or gauge a disaster level for the threat. And such an effort does not go unnoticed. The civilians of the city are so appreciative of Watchdog Man's consistent excellence, they willingly clean the city and his pedestal of monster corpses and blood to show their thanks, as noted in the audiobook titled Charanko Learning. However, he's so dedicated to Q City that he rarely ever leaves it, and thus usually never attends to threats outside of his jurisdiction, such as when he chased a defeated Garo out of his territory, then returned to his pedestal. Also, as a bonus note, some of you may notice the striking resemblance of Watchdog Man atop his pedestal to the real-life Hachiko statue at Shibuya Station in Tokyo, a statue of the famous Akita dog Hachiko, known for its loyalty and a beautiful but heartbreaking story where it would wait there every day for its owner as he returned from work, until one day his owner died while away, And unaware of this, the dog waited at the train station every day for his return, no matter how long it took, unable to be told that his owner would never come back again. I saw the movie years ago, and I can't lie to you, it gets me every time. Look what emotional trenches I need to crawl back through to give you guys a good, informed video. Hit that like and subscribe button to appreciate my sacrifice. Alright, let's get this video back on a leash. Sorry. So, what can this doggy do? Simply put, Watchdog Man is the physical embodiment of raw power, strength, speed, agility, you name it, he's got the stats boosted for it. No tricks, no fireballs, just straight up power. So much power in fact, that Garo, a human known for calling himself a monster and the enemy of humanity, further being someone who had faced incredibly strong individuals like Tank Top Master and Metal Bat, he went so far as to say Watchdog Man fought like a monster, and claimed that he was not even human after experiencing his movements personally. And that was while he felt like the fur-wearing hero was even holding back, making light work of one of the series' most decorated martial artists. Watchdog Man even showed some impish nature by the way he deflected all of Garo's attacks in a manner which made it look like he was shaking Garo's hand. This is the same Garo that battered multiple heroes up to that point, and afterward was able to still fight Genos, Bang, and Bomb later on after he had fled from Watchdog Man. All of which are insane powerhouse characters that move at incredible speeds and hit ridiculously hard. Taking on Watchdog Man was Garo's first real moment where he genuinely realized, as the famous saying goes in sports, there's levels to this game. Adding to that, Watchdog Man's been seen to rip monsters to pieces with his bare hands, and has even defeated around 30 monsters at the same time, all without taking a single hit or looking as if it were a challenge at all. Known to hold back against human opponents, he seems to pull his punches on people but doesn't mind tearing monsters to shreds, showing that even with such power, he's capable of regulating his output to match the situation, which is primarily how Garo was able to survive his encounter against him in the first place. An interesting note to refer back to the audiobook Charanko Learning was a sparring match between Bang and Metal Bat, and it didn't intrigue him in the slightest, instead choosing to sleep through their contest, leading some to believe it suggested that Watchdog Man is so strong that a challenge between two powerful S-class heroes wasn't even enough to obtain his attention. Oh, and he also has a very good sense of smell and hearing too, like a dog. Go figure. Before we call it a day though, another thing that's worth considering on the potential of Watchdog Man's true power is that even though we've had redraws cancelling things out in recent times, we've actually seen the #1 hero and most anticipated hero, Blast, have to fight seriously before we've seen Watchdog Man fight seriously. Let that sink in for a moment. The most mysterious and long anticipated hero, Blast, has now been seen pushed to his very limits in the series, back in the Monster Association arc where he tried to contain Saitama and Garo, and again in the recently retconned fight against Empty Void, while Watchdog Man has still not ever gotten serious, and we've only seen very small flickers of him being in combat. I'm working off the assumption that we'll probably see something to that degree from Blast and Empty Void again in future chapters, but you get the overall idea of being shown what they can do. So, to simplify it to a sentence, we've seen Blast and the other S-class heroes go all out, and we still haven't seen Watchdog Man go all out. I know it's a bit of a reach, but hear me out. With everything else, the Saitama similarities in expression and personality, the ominous remarks from the association concerning his power, his utter domination in the very limited fight scenes we've seen from him, the narrative excuse to keep him placed in Q City and away from important plot arcs thus far, and now this, seeing Blast and all other S-class heroes pushed to their limits before we've even seen Watchdog Man sweat once. Does this all, when taken into account together, lead to a possibility that even if Watchdog Man isn't someone as all-powerful as Saitama himself, could he still be a force with limits which surpass heroes such as Tatsumaki or even Blast? Narrative analysis suggests that, at the very least, Watchdog Man is stronger than most, possibly even all of S-Class. Real question, how far that idea actually go? Again, it could all mean nothing, but where there's smoke, there's sometimes fire, and it's very possible that the true power of Watchdog Man is a blazing inferno that spans wider than what anyone in the Hero Association could have ever imagined. Thank you for watching. This is Saitama World. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below.